All right, the Potsdam Conference, the last of the big three conferences from World War II. The Potsdam Conference is taking place between Joseph Stalin of the USSR, Harry Truman of the United States, and Churchill and Attlee of the United Kingdom. Germany at this point has fully surrendered. The Nazis have been defeated. Hitler is dead. The war in Europe is over. Also at this point, President Roosevelt is dead. Roosevelt had a stroke at his home in Georgia early on in the year. His vice president, Harry S. Truman, is going to take over, and thus Truman is representing the United States at the Potsdam Conference as opposed to Roosevelt, who represented the United States at both the Tehran and Yalta Conference. Additionally, Churchill's going to lose the 1945 elections in the United Kingdom, and he's going to be on his way out of power when he heads to Potsdam. So he's going to be at the conference up until the 25th. On the 26th, his term will be over. The term of Clement Attlee is going to start, and he is going to take Truman's place, or Churchill's place, representing the United Kingdom at the Potsdam Conference. Additionally, the second day of the conference, the United States is going to test the atomic bomb on July 16th, 1945. This is something that the United States and the United Kingdom were both aware of. Stalin, though, was not aware of this happening. And this is because, as we talked about earlier about the Yalta Conference, the United States and the United Kingdom realizes that Stalin cannot be trusted. So they do not tell him about the atomic bomb until July 25th. And this is when he agrees to officially enter the war with Japan. At this point, Truman is going to tell Stalin about the atomic bomb. Truman thought that he could use this bomb as kind of a bargaining chip with Stalin, as a way of impressing Stalin and getting Stalin to do what he wanted to do. Stalin, though, is not impressed. And the reason Stalin's not impressed is, even though he was not told about this bomb, Stalin knew about this bomb. Okay, Soviet spies were working 24/7, were relaying this information back to Stalin. Stalin knew exactly what was happening. So this idea that Truman had that he could kind of use this as a bargaining chip and impress Stalin, it really was not going to happen, because Stalin's spies were just that good. The state of the war at this time period, as we've already talked about, Germany is out of the picture. They have fully surrendered in unconditional surrender. Germany is now occupied by the four different countries: the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and the USSR. At this time as well, the United States is about to drop the atomic bomb on Japan. They tested their first one the second day of the conference. By this point, the decision has been made to drop an atomic bomb over the city of Japan. It's not a matter of if it will happen, but when. Germany, each country can deal with Germany how they want within their own individualized zones. So the USSR can do whatever they want in the USSR zone. The Americans can do whatever they want in their American zones. It's going to be up to each country to determine how they want to deal with Germany within their zones. The important thing to understand, though, is that the economy of Germany must be run as a whole. Okay, you cannot break it up, but that's going to be limited just to domestic industry and agriculture. When it comes to other things, you can run it however you want, but the domestic industry and the agriculture of Germany must be ran as a whole, these four countries working together. The USSR is going to agree to get 25% of reparations from the West, and this is going to be getting just like their money coming back that they really wanted. The East is going to be giving food to Germany throughout this one as well. Now, let's talk about Poland. Poland is the contentious issue of this entire negotiation, as we've already found out. Truman is not happy with what Stalin has done in Poland. He does not like how Stalin has set Poland up at all, and Truman's not afraid to state that. He demands a reorganization of Poland, that the London Poles are included, and he demands free elections. Remember, previously, we've got the London Poles coming up, or the Lublin Poles coming up, and really kind of saying this is the way it's going to be. The London Poles are not going to be included in anything. Truman says that ain't how it's going to work. We need this reorganization. We need the London Poles included, and we need free elections in Poland. Eastern Europe, Truman is going to be upset with this percentages agreement. This was an agreement made without him between Stalin and Churchill in 1944. Truman at this point was just the vice president, really didn't have any say in the negotiations, but he is not happy about this percentages agreement. And as what this agreement states is that, number one, Churchill believed the U.S. and the United Kingdom should control the Mediterranean Sea, and that the USSR could have a percentage of control in Eastern Europe. He does not see as much of a strategic value in Eastern Europe as he does in the Mediterranean region. Therefore, he's trying to protect the interests of the United States and the United Kingdom. He wants that region, and he's going to agree, set up these countries on a percentage basis. You can see this set up right through here. For example, Bulgaria, 75 to 80% of the control of Bulgaria will go to the Soviet Union, whereas 20 to 25% to the United Kingdom and the US. Greece, on the other hand, a major country that they want to have some say in, 10% Soviet, 90% to the United States and the United Kingdom, getting a large set of control in Greece. Looking at a country like Yugoslavia, splitting it 50-50. Romania, Churchill doesn't really see a point in controlling Romania. He's willing to potentially give the entire thing to the Soviets. You can see these issues going on right here. Churchill's okay with this. Stalin is okay with this. Truman, not too happy with what's going on right here. Truman wants to keep Eastern Europe from the Soviet sphere of influence. He wants free elections. He does not want to allow Stalin to have this buffer zone that Stalin is trying to establish. He does not want Stalin to have this sphere of influence over Eastern European countries. When it comes to talking about Japan, Truman's not going to be telling Stalin the full story, okay? Truman kind of wants to use this to a strategic advantage. He realizes that the United States can and eventually will defeat Japan on their own. They really don't need the help of the Russians at all, even though they've agreed previously to come in. Truman's just not going to tell Stalin the full story. He's not going to encourage Stalin to join the war against Japan at this point. Stalin already previously agreed to do this. But Truman's like, you know what, Stalin, if you don't want to get involved in this conflict, you're fine. We can defeat them on our own. And the main reason for this is he is afraid of splitting Japan and control of Japan after the war with the USSR. If the USSR is involved, you've got to work with them when it comes to reestablishing Japan after the war, much like we have happening in Germany at this time, the four countries working together to reestablish Germany. If it's just the United States, Truman can really do what Truman wants in Japan. And he's afraid of Stalin getting involved in this situation. And this is going to lead us to the final breakdown. The situation in Poland is still not resolved. There is no real agreement on what is happening with Poland. Stalin wants one thing, Truman wants another thing, Attlee's wanting another thing, and there's really no sort of kind of people working together and figuring out what's happening here. Stalin's controlled Eastern Europe, and he's unlikely to allow free elections. This is something the West is not happy about at all. They were adamant to free elections. Stalin had previously promised to hold these free elections. It's not likely to happen, and they are not happy with the situation. Additionally, the USSR is threatened by the atomic bomb, and they know it. Stalin is not happy by the fact that the United Kingdom and the US have this weapon, or the US has this weapon. The United Kingdom was told about it, but that the Soviets were purposely kept in the dark. Stalin, like what the flip, is not happy, does not like what's going on, and this is going to lead to that final breakdown between the Grand Alliance of the United States, the United Kingdom, and the USSR. That is all for now. Questions, comments, put them below. I will see you later.